on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome day today. Bitcoin sitting around the $10,400 level. You can see some of the coins are starting to have a little bit of a bounce back from yesterday. We had a bit of a scare this morning. Bitcoin looked like it was trying to dump below the $10,000 level. People were freaking out saying, that's it. We're going below 10K. It's over. It's crashing. Markets are down. Gold is down. And then surprisingly, we had a rebound at around the $10,130 level. Now, the big question is, are we all a little bit too bearish right now? Is this just one giant bear trap and the bears are going to be in for a rude awakening? Because there is something I need to talk about. The first thing we need to talk about is the Bitcoin whales. Now, the Bitcoin whales just did something that historically has been an extremely bullish on-chain sort of data analysis, right? We're going to talk about what that is, and if it does hold true, well, then this could potentially be an amazing time to accumulate Bitcoin. Now, obviously, there is still a chance that we might have a little bit more of a dip, but I want to talk about why Bitcoin is actually extremely undervalued at these prices, and why one Bloomberg analyst believes that Bitcoin really should be around $15,000 today, right now, and the only reason that it's kind of not is because of what's been going on globally. Now, just imagine if all of this actually does get solved, right? With the pandemic and all of this fear about the banks laundering monies. What about if this all blows over? We have a nice election. They come out with the vaccine. Stocks start to go up, right? Because not saying that's, what should make it go up, but, investors don't like uncertainty. What does that mean for the Bitcoin price? And is this an insane opportunity right now? And finally, if you're still sticking around with me, I'm going to tell you one altcoin that I just bought more of today. In fact, I bought quite a large amount of it. I'm going to tell you which altcoin that is and why there is some insanely incredible bullish news, which I was actually quite shocked myself. So that's what we're going to go into today. Sorry about the long intro, but the rest of the video, we'll keep it super quick, super rapid fire. Stick with me. If you want to win a ledger, drop a comment below. Let's dive into the charts. Now, having a look right here, we do notice that we are back in this blue territory. Now, look at how beautifully Bitcoin rebounded off of this historical trend line. I have not moved these lines, my friends. These are the same exact trends that we've been looking at ever since we had it as resistance back here at the end of April. And you could see how beautifully Bitcoin has bounced and bounced. We kind of rode along it here, got crazy off of it, rode along it again, tried to have the breakout, came back down, and currently we have bounced again. Now, do keep in mind, we are coming to an apex, and that is around the end of October. So it is possible we could see Bitcoin go sideways until the end of October, which we kind of were saying that the next 2 months might be a little bit lackluster potentially for Bitcoin. Now, zooming out a little bit more on the macro trend, we actually could go a little bit lower. This is looking at the weekly, and if we start this trend that started back in November of last year, then like I said, we could still come down to about the $9,500 level, maybe even just quickly wick down, close our good old buddy, the CME futures gap, and continue on our merry way. Same thing goes over here for the monthly as well. Monthly and weeklies are pretty similar as far as the levels. You could potentially have a wick down to 8,700 on the monthly, but honestly, guys, I don't think we're going to go that low unless there's some crazy, black swan events that come out, terrible right now. Although we do have our worst case scenario saying we could go down to about the $7,000 level. Now, Salsa over here on Twitter. Now, keep in mind, this guy, he's a pretty good trader, right? He came in number 2 over on the Bybit World Series of Trading competition. So, he does put his money where his mouth is. And, he basically shows this chart of SPX. He says, I wouldn't want to be long anything right now. Every market I watch, heavy vomit on the sweater already. Mom spaghetti, he's nervous. That's the Eminem reference. But on the surface, he looks calm and ready. He punched short of BTC already. So basically, he's saying he's a little bit worried about these. Everything's kind of moving in tandem. We have seen the correlations between all these different projects. All these different assets being Bitcoin, gold, stocks, etc. And, I did tell you guys that we are looking at this sort of 200 weekly weekly moving average as my pretty much worst case scenario for Bitcoin, right? And of course, we do have our potential on the CME futures gap. Now, interestingly enough, Tone Vase says that hitting 7,000 is also now the worst case scenario. So looks like me and Tone Vase actually agree on something. He has been known to be a little bit of more on the bearish side when it comes to sort of the Bitcoin price overall. And he says if we break down, I think 9,000 could be a very good buy the dip. But are the whales going to actually let Bitcoin get back down to those prices? Because I want to show you something bullish in just a minute. Now, keep in mind, for all of my new friends who have just recently joined, everyone who's been subscribing, if you're new, you might be saying to yourself, what's going on? I thought this was going straight to the moon. Well, Bitcoin is still the best performing asset, up 44%. Gold only up 29. NASDAQ 18. Some of them are even down. The dollar index and crude oil, my goodness, let's not get into that one, right? But we do have Bloomberg cryptocurrency analyst Mike McClone, who does believe that Bitcoin is massively undervalued. According to a newsletter that he did put out, the company him on behalf of the company also says that on-chain data suggests that Bitcoin should be much higher right now. So Mike McClone believes that Bitcoin should be $15,000. He says the price currently around the $10,300, $10,400 level is literally too low. Here's what he says. The Bitcoin hash rate continues to increase and recently reached new all-time highs. Also advancing our Bitcoin addresses. There are more addresses constantly forming every single day. And we have seen that these were top metrics for being, bullish indicators, right? You also have the 30-day average of Bitcoin addresses equivalent to the price closer to 15,000 when measured on auto scale basis since 2017. Even during recent drops in the value of Bitcoin, Mike McClone believes that the future of Bitcoin is hopeful in both trading and investment purposes. He suggested that Bitcoin looks as though it is in the current and likely to remain for some time leader in the future of money and saving, saying that it will remain to be a major element in the paradigm shift toward digital money and stores of value. While he acknowledged that Bitcoin could potentially fall, he says that this is unlikely a long-term issue and most likely related to sort of just what's happening right now, right? Also, I want to talk about some whale data. So data fetched by blockchain analysis firm CryptoQuant shows inflows into the world's major trading platforms started plummeting at a considerable pace beginning September 16th. So we have whale inflows seem to be decreasing. Why are the whales not sending as much Bitcoin to the exchanges? Could it potentially be that they're looking to accumulate at these stages? Could be, right? We have the CEO of CryptoQuant saying it seems that the Bitcoin price follows the traditional market lately. We've pretty much accomplished that is, basically the situation. I think the only thing we can do with on-chain data at this moment is to watch whale movements. Most of the fundamental on-chain indicators are in fact healthy. So we have Bitcoin fractals from recent history also shows whale-led market trends. For example, on March 8th, we had Bitcoin's prices 50% decline corresponding perfectly with an inflow of 6,000 Bitcoin coming from whale addresses across multiple exchanges. On the flip side, today is different. Bitcoin whales are showing signs of accumulating Bitcoin at trades around the $10,300 level as inflows decrease. A chart published by on-chain data tracker Whale Map noted a cluster is forming near this level. Here's the map right here. It represents an increase in the locations of unspent Bitcoin. And you can see right here, the larger the bubble, the more unspent Bitcoin there are, and it doesn't, take a genius to see. We have an incredibly large bubble. In fact, probably the biggest bubble since the one back, basically this bubble right here, saying that 10,300 is a pretty, high level of accumulation level. Now, I have showed you on the VPVR before why that is a significant level, and we've talked about the significance of the $10,300 to $10,500 level before, and it looks like it's actually playing out as a level of major interest for the Bitcoin whale. So let me know, are you swayed? Are you bullish? Are you still ultimately bearish? What do you think is going to happen with the Bitcoin price? But now we need to talk about the altcoin that I just bought more of. Did you guess it? Did you guys figure it out? Well, if you've been watching the channel, wouldn't surprise you, guys, it is Polkadot. Yes, I actually bought a substantial amount of Polkadot, a lot. I've been waiting for good opportunities to get in. Now, obviously, any opportunity, in my opinion, not financial advice, under $4 is an incredible buy. I was only able to buy a very small amount of Polkadot under $4, so I wish I could have got more, but I couldn't. So currently, I did buy more today, slightly above, around like $4.20. Look, if it goes cheaper, I'll just accumulate. Why am I buying more Polkadot? Well, out of all of the altcoin projects that I've been able to look at that could potentially be Ethereum competitors, in my opinion, Polkadot has the biggest chance. And every single day, there is just more bullish news coming out about Polkadot. It's almost undeniable. Here's an incredible story that came out. So now, the Polkadot team has released on Wednesday a major milestone for its Substrate blockchain framework, which now provides a way for blockchain applications to interface with the outside world without relying on external Oracle providers. Think about that. Now, we know how massive Chainlink has been, right? The reason that Chainlink is so incredible is because they are an oracle, because they do connect the blockchain, the digital world, to the real world by feeding in that data and information into the smart contract so that they can execute things based on real world parameters. Now, Polkadot is saying they don't need oracles. So I'm not trying to create like any sort of FUD or anything for any of these oracle projects out there. I still think Chainlink and, Dia and Band and all of them are great, but Polkadot is saying it doesn't need oracles. This is incredible. The most important features of Substrate 2.0 is the off-chain worker, a development module that lets blockchain platforms advance computations or make their own web requests to the outside world. The system would allow Polkadot developers to build complex systems like price feed providers entirely on-chain, removing some of the elements of trust involved. The issue of finding reliable data sources, the core of the Oracle problem, would still remain, but developers would have maximum flexibility in the design of their dApps and blockchains. By contrast, Oracle systems like Chainlink have their data gathering logic entirely off-chain. Smart contract developers can only access the final data submitted by the oracles, necessitating a certain degree of trust in these providers that these types of solutions try to minimize. Now, that's only the first part of the story. Secondly, we have an upcoming project called Polkastarter. Now, if you haven't been watching me on Twitter, this is a project I am super excited for. So these guys essentially are going to create that DEX, and it's going to be interoperable, and they go into a whole reason why they chose to go with Polkadot over everything else. But let me just break down to you some of these insane features. So the protocol is going to enable cheap transaction fees. The processing speed on Polkadot blockchains is about 160,000 transactions per second. With the speed of transactions, cost will be greatly minimized. Now, we know that right now we have a massive problem on Ethereum, right? You try to do these Uniswap trades, sometimes you're paying fees $45 to execute, a swap or interact with a smart contract. It's insane. That is ridiculous, guys. And the reason that this is happening is because of the slow transactions per second. We have miners on the Ethereum blockchain taking advantage from time to time. Essentially, they prioritize higher network fees, right? Because it's all about big business for these miners. So, they're going to decide that they're going to obviously process the ones with higher fees first. And if you don't have money to pay for a fast fee, I've literally had things sitting for 3 days. Finally, I just gave in, paid the extra fee, and sped up the transaction because I was tired of waiting, right? Also, we do have to talk about sharding. Now, sharding isn't exactly a new technology, right? We had projects like Zilliqa having sharding, back when they came out, I think it was almost 2 years ago now, right? I think at this point. So that's nothing new. But if you don't know what sharding is, essentially it helps spread out the computational and storage workload across peer-to-peer networks so that each participating node isn't responsible for processing the entire network transaction load, but they are evenly distributed. And in theory, usually when you do increase the nodes, you increase sharding, it actually should also increase the network. Whereas with Bitcoin, you kind of have the opposite, right? Sort of tends to bog it down a bit, right? So sharding abilities will allow networks to interoperate with each other so that data and file transfer happens smoothly across blockchains without hiccups. Projects listed in the Polka Starter Dex aggregator will be able to communicate with each other regardless of the blockchain type. This makes it totally interoperable. This is a key feature that you want moving forward in the blockchain space, right? We're going to need to talk to all these different blockchains. So, oh, and also let me just show you something real quick. If you guys don't really know how fast 160,000 transactions per second is, this is an old sort of infographic thing that or video from Rayblocks, which if you guys don't know was rebranded to Nano. Having a look right here. So you have Bitcoin on the left. You see going down there, 7 Bitcoin. Then you have Dash. Now, this right here is Ethereum. So this is about 15 transactions per second, right? So this represents that. Litecoin, you have XRP doing 1,500. Nano right here showing you 7,000. We're talking 160,000. Just to put that into perspective, how fast that really is, okay? So that, my friends, is why I'm extremely bullish on Polkadot. And yeah, I have put my money where my mouth is, and I've bought more today. And you know what? If it dips, I'll buy more again. So that's the big altcoin that I bought more of. Super pumped for Polkadot. Sure, a lot of you that watch the channel are not surprised, but figured I'd share that transparently. Now, we do have Binance's new yield farming protocol, Pancake Swap, promising staking and lower transaction fees. Pancake Swap is based on Binance's blockchain network rather than their more popular preferred Ethereum network. But unfortunately, you can only use it for BEP20 tokens. So we have another food product. Oh, no, just kidding, guys. I'm sorry. Chicken, aka KFC, will be listed on BitHum Global. So, yeah, but for anyone out there, I am most certainly not buying any more of these food tokens. I've had enough with food tokens. I don't care if it's the next 100x gem. If it is named after a food, I refuse to buy it. I'm sorry. I have to put my foot down somewhere. I have to take the stand. No more food cryptos. Enough is enough, guys. But that is it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're as excited about Polkadot as I am. You might not be. Maybe, ETH 2.0 could potentially be the end-all be-all, and we could all be wasting our money on these Ethereum competitors, but I am going to take that risk because I do see the value in some of these competitors. We've talked about plenty of them on the channel, Polkadot being my biggest bet. And actually, it is my biggest altcoin bag at this moment. So that goes to show you how much I am sort of rooting for it. So that is it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Let me know, what altcoins should I be looking at? Are there any altcoins that you think could even be better than Polkadot? Maybe I've completely missed an altcoin. I don't know. I'm only one guy. I only have so much time to look at these projects. So let me know. Thanks again for stopping by. Thank you for getting subscribed. If you haven't, join the free Telegram group. Links below in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great day. My name is K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.